Everything changed the day my husband died, but the real betrayal began after the funeral. Before the flowers had even started to fade, his 2 grown sons sat across from me and calmly informed me that they would inherit everything. Our family home, the lake house, the business, and nearly every asset my husband and I had built. Together over 22 years would belong to them. They assured me that I would receive a small life insurance payment and 30 days to leave the only home I had known for decades. To make matters worse, they claimed I was personally responsible for nearly $202,000 in medical bills from my husband's final illness. Sitting there in shock, I realized they had already planned every detail, leaving me with almost nothing, while they walked away with millions. My attorney believed something was terribly wrong with the will, and urged me to challenge it in Goregi too. He insisted that my husband had always spoken about protecting me, and that the documents did not match the man he had known. Even so, I made a decision that confused everyone. Instead of fighting, I agreed to sign every paper they placed in front of me. My husband's sons celebrated what they believed was an easy victory. They rushed the legal process, convinced they had outsmarted a grieving widow who was too heartbroken to defend herself. They had no idea I had discovered a small brass key hidden inside my husband's desk, a clue that would completely change everything. After searching for answers, I learned the key opened a secret safety deposit box my husband had, rented months before his death. Inside were letters, financial records, investigation reports, and a heartfelt message written especially for me. As I carefully read each document, the truth unfolded piece by piece. My husband had discovered that his own sons were secretly planning to take control of his fortune while he was still alive. They believed his illness would allow them to manipulate his estate before I understood what was happening. To protect me, he quietly moved millions of dollars into secure accounts only I could access. He hired a private investigator who uncovered shocking evidence that both sons were drowning in debt, hiding gambling losses, committing financial fraud, and even discussing ways to cheat their own dying father out of his fortune. The greatest surprise came when I found the real will. The version my stepsons presented after the funeral was outdated. The valid will left every major decision entirely in my hands. My husband also explained that he had secretly placed enormous mortgages on the expensive properties his sons expected to inherit. They believed they were receiving valuable homes and businesses, but those assets were actually buried beneath crushing debt. If they accepted the inheritance, they would also inherit millions in financial obligations. My husband had carefully planned every move, so their own greed would become their punishment. Knowing the truth, I attended dinner with my stepsons and acted as though I knew nothing. They smiled, praised my cooperation, and pressured me to sign everything immediately. During the conversation, I casually mentioned finding unusual financial documents and a safety deposit box key. Their confident expressions disappeared instantly. For the first time, they realized something had gone terribly wrong. They became nervous, trying to convince me not to investigate any further. But their fear only confirmed everything my husband had discovered. The next morning, I met the attorney my husband had secretly hired. He showed me the complete investigation, the hidden accounts, the genuine will, and overwhelming evidence of my stepson's financial crimes. Together, we prepared for the final legal meeting, where everyone expected me to surrender. Instead, I calmly revealed the truth. I explained that I knew about the hidden money, the fake inheritance, the forged documents, the gambling debts, and every lie they had told while pretending to care about family. Their confidence disappeared as each piece of evidence was placed on the table. They finally understood that my husband had been several steps ahead of them the entire time. Then I made my decision. I offered them exactly what they had spent months trying to steal. They could inherit the expensive properties, but they would also inherit every dollar of debt attached to them. If they refused, criminal investigations supported by overwhelming evidence would move forward. Trapped by their own actions, they had no choice but to accept the inheritance that quickly became a financial disaster. Everything they believed would make them rich, instead, destroyed the lives they had built on greed and deception. A few months later, I sold the remaining protected assets, moved into a peaceful home overlooking the ocean, and finally began living for myself. My husband's fortune gave me complete financial freedom, but his greatest gift was not money. He reminded me that strength often appears when everything seems lost. Inspired by what happened, I created a foundation that helps victims of financial abuse rebuild their lives and protect themselves from manipulation. Looking back, I realized my husband had not simply left me an inheritance. He had left me the truth, the courage to stand on my own, and the chance to transform betrayal into a future filled with purpose. Sometimes the greatest revenge is not destroying the people who hurt you. It is living a happier life while they face the consequences of every choice they made.